this is my review of My Hero Academia. Okay, so this episode sets up a plot point with a future villain down the road, and it also kind of sort of almost finishes up the battle arc and the tournaments and all that. So after Deku got his ass handed to him by Todoroki, he went to the hospital. Well, not the hospital, but the nurse's office, where Recovery Girl gives All Might a bit of a lecture on how he shouldn't be so reckless with his quirk just to make All Might proud, and that he shouldn't really congratulate him for any of that. And All Might doesn't exactly congratulate him on that, but he does congratulate him on the fact that he was able to bring Todoroki out of his shell a little bit and help him start to come over some of his emotional hang-ups. A fact that Todoroki brings up to his dad when he next meets him and tells him that just for a moment he wasn't thinking about his dad and the legacy that he was trying to be upheld by, and rather was just kind of doing his own thing. And says that he hasn't really given up his childish rebellion, but he is coming one step closer to becoming into a hero on his own. So all of Deku's friends come to check on him, obviously, because he's kind of been incapacitated, and he now needs to have surgery to have little small bone fragments removed from his body so he can heal properly. And obviously they're all shooed away and start panicking when surgery's brought up, and they all go to their respective matches. Tokoyami and Iida's are over in an instant because of the way their matchups work. Tokoyami is up against Plant Girl. I forget her name because she's not really all that relevant yet, but he's able to outspeed her and sneak up behind her and push her out of bounds relatively quickly, whereas Tokoyami is able to keep Mina on the offensive, or rather on the defensive, and just hammers her with attacks until she goes out of bounds, which is pretty spectacular, and it sets up the two more intense fights in this episode. But once Deku fully recovers, he begins to doubt himself as being able to succeed All Might, a fact that All Might quickly reassures him on, because not only is he proud of him for being able to bring Todoroki out of his shell and try to become a better hero in spite of his father's actions, but he also points out that the reason he picked Deku was because he himself was quirkless when he was a kid, and his master saw potential in him long ago, and he decided that he would pass it on to Deku because he saw something similar in Deku that he didn't really see in any of the other kids attending UA. So this picks up Deku, and Deku also realizes that he now needs to also find a new way to use his quirk, as he was told that he was only able to heal himself to the point where he could walk, and Recovery Girl points out that without a new way to use his quirk, he's going to die, because she reveals that she's not going to heal his injuries anymore, and points out that yes, he is going to have to learn how to use his quirk without injuring himself, something Deku is going to try going forward, and I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. But anyway, immediately after his match, Iida runs into Deku and points out that he's going to go call his brother and tell him the good news, and also tells him that he congratulated Deku on surviving so long against Todoroki, and is planning to use similar strategies he saw in their fight to try and surpass Todoroki and get to the finals. So Todoroki calls his brother, but Tensei is busy because he's busy hunting down a hero killer, Stain, who was foreshadowed at the end of the first episode, well, the last episode of the first season. But suffice to say, eventually we do find out what happened to him, but that's gonna be a bit of a spoiler. But I do want to point out that Tensei kind of didn't really do all that well. Eventually Iida finds out after his next match against Todoroki, which he kind of doesn't do too well at, although he does have a brilliant strategy of getting close to Todoroki and trying to drag him out of bounds using his Recipro Burst, but Todoroki plans for that and stalls his engine, so he can't exactly run anymore, and then is immobilized by Todoroki. Meanwhile, Bakugo also employs a new strategy of basically brutally attacking Tokoyami until his Dark Shadow gives out, and then immobilizing him until Tokoyami eventually just gives up and forfeits the match. So now Todoroki and Bakugo are going to be up and against one another in the next round. And it's at this point where Tenya Iida realizes that his brother is now injured by Hero Killer Stain. And Hero Killer Stain is recruited by the Brotherhood of Villains, or the League of Villains, or whatever they go by, who are interested in his abilities and want to recruit him for their cause. And they send Kurogiri to do that. So, which actually works out, because had they sent anybody else, they probably would have been run through with his sword because of how on edge Stain was. Because, let's be honest, if Kurogiri or anybody else just snuck up on Stain, a guy who is notably a bit of a sociopath, but also a bit of a martyr, I'll get into that in a minute, they probably would have died. But anyway, back to Stain. Stain seems a bit interesting. It seems that he believes that the only way people are going to be able to change is by trying to fix what's wrong with it. I.e., he believes that all heroes are only in it for greed or money or power or whatever have you, and believes that the best way to solve the problem, or at least a long-term solution, is to just start killing heroes. Which isn't exactly the best idea, but I do kind of get what he's saying. He believes that that society as a whole is too reliant on heroes who don't really care about being heroes, and wants to try and eliminate any heroes that he believes to be impure and not exactly up to code with what a hero is supposed to be. Although it's kind of interesting because according to Iida, his older brother Ingenium is actually one of those people who actually does believe he's holding up a moral code, and he does have a bit of a moral code, and he is pretty devoted to the task of being a hero. But Stain doesn't know that. I mean, Stain just kind of outright kills him well, not kill him, but incapacitate him. Because Stain is a scary dude. I don't really know what his quirk is yet, but the fact that he uses knives to incapacitate people and then licks his sword, it's kind of unsettling. But as I said, he's a little bit unhinged because of the way his mind works. But he's definitely a scary villain, and I'm gonna be interested to see how he interacts with the world as a whole going forward. But yeah, that's mainly what's going to be going on next. We're going to be seeing a bit more of the Hero Killer Stain going forward, but we're also going to be seeing how people are going to be coping with it. And we're also going to be seeing Deku trying to master a new power. So I'm looking forward to all of that. But if you guys have seen this episode of My Hero Academia, what do you guys think? Because I'm interested to see where the series is going to go from here. So yeah, if you guys have seen this episode, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion on in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description, as always. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month, and it really helps me out, so I would definitely appreciate if you check that out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace! Well, I gotta get to the ocean before I drown, so...